Do you know the CIA once ran secret brothels where they drugged innocent people without their knowledge? From 1953 to 1965, the agency operated hidden locations in San Francisco and New York. This was part of their mind control program called MK Ultra. Decorated Green Beret once fooled investigators for years after murdering his entire family. February 17, 1970, Army Dr. Jeffrey MacDonald calls military police in panic. Hippie intruders attacked his family. His pregnant wife and 2 daughters are dead. MacDonald was the perfect suspect to believe. Princeton graduate, Green Beret captain, war hero. His story fit perfectly with the times. Charles Manson was headline news. The attackers supposedly chanted, "Acid is groovy, kill the pigs." But investigators noticed something disturbing. MacDonald had minor scratches. His family was brutally bludgeoned and stabbed to death. The crime scene told a different story. No signs of struggle, where he claimed to fight multiple attackers. No footprints. No forced entry. Forensic evidence revealed the horrifying truth. MacDonald had moved his wife's body, planted evidence, staged everything. The psychological profile was chilling. A narcissistic killer who murdered his pregnant wife and daughters in cold rage, then methodically constructed an elaborate lie. For decades, he maintained his innocence. But the evidence doesn't lie. Sometimes, the most dangerous predators hide behind uniforms and medical degrees. July 17, 1918. A basement in Russia. The last royal family was about to die in the most horrific way imaginable. Tsar Nicholas II, his wife, and their 5 children were woken at midnight. They thought they were being moved to safety. They were wrong. Executioner Yakov Yurovsky led them downstairs. Then his death squad opened fire in the cramped space. But the execution went horribly wrong. The children had sewn diamonds into their clothes. The jewels deflected the bullets. Instead of quick deaths, they suffered in agony. Yurovsky had to finish them off with bayonets, point-blank shots to the head. The bodies were dumped in a forest, doused in acid, buried in unmarked graves. For 73 years, the Soviet government lied. They claimed the family was safely evacuated. But Yurovsky kept detailed notes. He called it his revolutionary duty. Yet he admitted the children's screams haunted him forever. The remains weren't found until 1991. One of history's most brutal royal murders, hidden for decades. Did you know the CIA once ran secret brothels where they drugged innocent people without their knowledge? From 1953 to 1965, the agency operated hidden locations in San Francisco and New York. This was part of their mind control program called MK Ultra. Agent George White recruited prostitutes to slip LSD into clients' drinks. CIA operatives watched through 2-way mirrors, documenting every psychological breakdown. The victims had no idea they were human test subjects. Businessmen, politicians, ordinary citizens, all drugged and studied like lab rats. White became drunk on power. He threw wild parties where he secretly dosed guests, collecting blackmail material while they suffered terrifying hallucinations. This continued for over a decade with zero oversight. When Congress finally exposed the program in the 70s, the CIA had destroyed almost all evidence. The victims never learned what happened to them. Many suffered lasting psychological damage from the government's secret experiments. Their own country had used them as unwilling test subjects in one of the most unethical operations in American history. Did you know that America's first mass school shooting was committed by a man whose brain may have betrayed him? August 1st, 1966. Charles Whitman kills his mother and wife in cold blood. Then he climbs the University of Texas Tower, 307 feet high, armed with an arsenal of weapons. For 96 minutes, this former Marine turned the campus into a war zone. Precision sniper fire from above, students diving for cover, police firing back, 14 dead, 31 wounded. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. The autopsy revealed a brain tumor pressing against his amygdala, the part that controls aggression and fear. Whitman had been writing about violent thoughts, complaining of headaches. He even visited a psychiatrist who dismissed his concerns. Was this a cold-blooded killer, or a normal person whose brain had been hijacked by biology? His case became legendary in studying how brain abnormalities can trigger extreme violence. It raises a terrifying question. How much control do we really have over our own minds? Sometimes the most frightening monsters aren't born evil. They're made by forces we can't see. Did you know that in 1941, Nazi Germany created mobile death squads that turned entire towns into mass graves? They were called Einsatzgruppen, 4 units, 3,000 men total. These weren't concentration camps. These were roving execution squads that followed the German army into the Soviet Union. Their mission was simple: kill every Jew, intellectual, and communist official they could find. They operated like a twisted assembly line. Victims were forced to dig their own graves, then shot in groups. At Babi Yar Ravine in Ukraine, one unit murdered 33,000 people in just 2 days. The psychological toll was devastating. So many killers suffered nervous breakdowns that Nazi leaders had to develop gas chambers as a more humane method for the murderers. Unit commanders documented every killing in daily reports to Berlin. They treated genocide like paperwork. By 1943, these mobile death squads had murdered over 1 million people across Eastern Europe. When Germany retreated, they tried burning the bodies to hide the evidence. But the scale was too massive to erase. These ordinary men became systematic killers with nothing more than official orders. Did you know the first man in space died because of a lie the Soviet Union couldn't tell? March 27, 1968. Yuri Gagarin climbs into his fighter jet for a routine training flight. He was a national hero, the man who beat America to space, an experienced pilot on a simple mission. Perfect weather, clear skies. 70 minutes later, his plane slams into the ground. The official story: pilot error, but nothing made sense. Gagarin was too skilled. The conditions were too perfect. The Soviet government classified everything. For 45 years, the truth stayed buried. What really happened was worse than any cover-up conspiracy. A larger military jet had violated flight protocols. It flew too close to Gagarin's small aircraft. The turbulence sent his plane into an uncontrollable spin. Gagarin had 70 seconds to save himself. It wasn't enough. The other pilot's superiors knew what happened. They chose to protect their own instead of admitting the truth. The same system that made Gagarin a hero killed him through pure bureaucratic cowardice. The first man in space died because powerful men couldn't admit their mistake.